What's up? I'm Daniel, the Pitch Professor, and I'm back again with a new pitch that I want to take a closer look at together with you. As always, this is just my personal opinion, so feel free to write in the comments what you think and kind of tell me if you have other opinions or if some of my viewpoints are good, bad, ugly. You know how the whole thing works. Anyhow, this time it's in fact Dragon's Den, the UK version. And yeah, I've been continuing on looking for pitches that seem interesting. And this one's called The Pitch That Made History. So let's find out why. No, it's over there. This pitch, there. Now I got it. Why this pitch is historic or not. Let's have a look inside. Let's go.
Hi Dragons, my name's Edward, founder of Cheese Geek.
I'm Rich, COO and problem solver.
We are the disruptive, modern cheesemonger looking to raise £150,000 for 3% of the business. There are currently over...
The disruptive, modern cheesemonger. Okay, sounds interesting. I mean, something I've kind of learned over time is if you have to say that you're disruptive, usually means you're not. But let's see, it also seems to be quite an ambitious ask. I quite like the way they kind of line themselves up and what they do. Let's see, let's continue.
750 varieties of cheese being made in the UK, but most of us can probably name less than 10 of those, if that. There have been many innovative, tech-led businesses that have revolutionized flowers, craft gin, craft beer. Cheese has been left behind. Within 5 years, we aim to become the dominant brand within the £3.2 billion UK cheese industry and beyond.
Okay, that was great. I like the way he took the cheese industry and said, look, there's comparable industries. Kind of. I don't know much about cheese, but he kind of says, look, there's comparable industries that have all had this happen to them yet, already. However, no one's tackled cheese. We go like, okay, that's interesting. And within the next 5 years, we aim to do exactly that. So he's also giving us an ambitious timeline. I mean, it's kind of like a timeline, but a time frame. And I really love that because it gives us early on the understanding that you've done your homework and looked for comparable industries. Second, that you know your space. And third, it also shows us your ambition, the pace with what you're trying to achieve, on what period of time you're trying to achieve your targets. So that's in fact a very, very strong opening. I like it. Let's continue.
There are 3 ways in which we intend to achieve this. Firstly, we offer an unrivaled experience, whether it's our one-off boxes or our flagship subscriptions, guaranteeing new cheese every month. We source almost all of our cheese directly from UK cheesemakers. This means we're sending out the best cheese at the best time of its life. Secondly, our technology. Our upcoming mobile app will be a game changer. Every cheese you ever tried will be stored and rated. We call it Vivino for cheese. Thirdly, our brand identity and sustainability.
Do you see that look just now in one of the dragon's eyes? Our guy pitching, I believe his name is Rich, I'm bad with names, said, we call it the Vivino of, and his eyes lighted up. I always say never pitch alone, and this is why. This was just a fantastic, fantastic giveaway that something was happening up there. Something's kind of rung a bell. In other words, maybe they know something and they're trying to trigger something. So always research the investors you work with. And if you know they're involved in something, or you assume it, even if you don't know it, but just by dropping specific names, especially if you are in, let's say, a domestic market or a market with a specific size, actually works with every market, but there's always just a limited amount of investors in your space. That means a lot. Could be someone who's invested, could be someone who's a competitor, could be someone who's a user, but it's a good move. And again, never pitch alone, always have a spotter. That's why. If you missed it, just go back a couple seconds, but you see something.
Sit at the center of our business.
So, in our first full year, we turned over 96,000. Year 2, 280,000. And year 3, 1.54 million. All that's left now is to try some British cheese.
That's also great. He's got his numbers. He's showing the growth level, saying, look, year 1, 96, year 2, I forgot, 250, and now 1.2. That's a good traction. That shows traction. And again, traction means you have an outside validation. Someone from the outside who says, yes, what they do works. And the best outside validation is market numbers. Because before that you say in a pitch, well, we think, we believe, we could, maybe, potentially, kind of. As soon as you have traction numbers, we know the market is proving it. And also great step, they've had a short pitch, always like short and precise pitches, and now they're moving on to showcase the product they have. Always have something for people to look, try, feel, test, experience.
A cheese subscription app is the proposition from tech entrepreneurs Edward Hancock and Richard Simpson.
And
it's
Rich
COVID
is now
times.
going to present you with some cheesy canapes, which I'd recommend having before your meal, during your meal, after your meal, or in between meals.
They're seeking
like cheese.
£150,000 in return for a 3% share in their business.
Oh,
So
these
I'm
masks were so bad with the beard.
plant-based.
We've sourced some ethical dairy cheese for you.
From the ethical
Yeah,
dairy.
directly from the
Oh,
ethical
well,
dairy.
you've got my soft spot there, because if I
Also that, know your target audience. They know that she invests only in ethical products. Imagine they wouldn't have done their homework. You say, look, here's cheese. And she goes like, I only invest in ethical products. No, pitch is dead. So do your research and just observe the response. Now, she suddenly feels special, as your audience should. She sees, hey, they've gone this extra mile to just understand, how do I relate to that product? Always do that. I love that approach. Let's go.
ever I try cheese, it's from them.
Her ethically sourced cheese sample has already won the approval of serial eco-investor Deborah Meaden. Now she wants to know what makes this business unique.
So guys, where is your value? What's the really hard thing to replicate?
Great
For
question.
me, I would start with the technology. It holds all our cheese universe. We have hundreds of cheeses in there, profiles on all of them, and all our customer data feeds into it and kind of works its magic and spits out the 5 cheeses that are going to be perfect for that person. And then customers rate their cheese, and then that starts to influence what they get in future boxes. So their subscription just becomes more and more personalised as people stay with us.
So your timing is actually good, because British cheese has absolutely blossomed because we're struggling getting French cheeses.
Timing is of the essence. I like that, because obviously, why is she saying we're struggling with French cheese? Well, number one, it's the dark COVID days. As you see with the mask, you can also see at the elevator is kind of like a plexi or glass in between, separating the two of them. Rightly so. I mean, that's what we needed to do back then. And number two, I'm unsure if this is like before or after Brexit. I don't know the exact recording date, but knowing that timing is of the essence is everything. The right timing is sometimes the absolute most mission critical element, and the awareness of that, or potentially predicting it and saying, look, we know that in 2 years we'll have the, let's say, European Union AI Data Act, and therefore this is going to happen. That's why we're building ABC. Timing is absolute of the essence. And she's smiling. See, she's smiling. I'm not figuring that out. I have to do more videos. She's smiling. She's happy. And that's what you want to do.
Into the UK. And what I'm trying to work out is when this all settles down, what happens to your market?
I think that is a part of it, but I think there's a fundamental movement of all of us as a body of people to understand more about where our food comes from, whether the values of that producer and that business match our values.
And what about the ethical side of it?
So at the moment, around 15% of all of our cheese is organic.
And do you have any mega dairies on your books?
Absolutely not.
Do you have any cheese at all that isn't grass-fed?
Absolutely not. 200.
Two things here. What I really liked was the way he said, no, it's not just now a small hype phase. She was saying, well, timing, is it now or never? And he smartly replied saying, no, actually what's happening is this is the beginning of something. It's good time now, but this is the beginning of something. So now could be the catalyst, but it's a good time now to get started, but this is going to continue on growing. I also like the way she challenged him and the way he said, absolutely not. And here's a little game for you, something to try out. So without any pre-warning, what you do is you go to your loved ones and say, what's your favorite animal? And two things are going to happen. Number one, either people are going to be super perplexed, like, I don't know, like, not fluffy, kind of smelly, I don't know, I guess, chicken. Or people are going to say dog, or cat, dolphin. So it's either going to be a very unclear response, meaning I actually haven't thought about this or I don't have a clear opinion, or, like in my case, it's dogs. You can wake me up at 3:57 in the morning, ask me, and I'll say dog. Why? Because I know this 100%. And that's the same thing when people ask you quick fire questions. How much money are you trying to raise? In uncertain times of blah, 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 or $1 million. Do you have that in your product line? Absolutely not. Versus, well, it depends how you, Try it out. And again, you'll just have these two responses. Let me know how that went. I know how it's going to play.
100 cows is the most of any, and they're all pasture fed.
Thank you.
She's ticking boxes.
Ethically leaning business, powered by some savvy tech, in a growing market, could prove a compelling combination for Deborah Meaden. But is Peter Jones finding the price tag the entrepreneurs have placed on their business quite so palatable?
I've got to say, your valuation is smellier than your cheese.
That's
Why
charming.
have you come in here with such a ridiculous valuation?
So what I've done is I've taken the revenue and applied a 3.1 times multiple. I'd also add, I think, which is really important, that I've invested 720,000.
How much?
That.
720,000.
Look at his face. He's proving skin in the game. That's what you want to show. You don't want to say, well, I'm a kind of partial founder and I have plan A, B, C, kind of. But you want to say, I have skin in the game. This guy just said he's invested 750K of his own personal money. And just look at that reaction of, I think his name is Steven. He's like nearly suffocating on his cheese. He goes, how much? Because this means massive commitment. And Peter Jones, still got it wrong. No. And Peter Jones here, that one, he's taking note. He just now was like, your valuation is ridiculous. And our guy pitching goes like, I can explain. This is why I've got a 3.1 multiple and I've invested so and so much. And not saying, wow, how dare you say ridiculous or blah. He just listens in and responds calmly and professionally. I love the reactions we're getting here. Priceless.
Where did you get 720,000? Sorry.
From my career in finance.
Have you got more where that came from?
No.
So you spent all your money on this?
Yeah. It was a kind
Massive.
of crazy thing to do.
Either stupidity or genius or,
So 700K invested?
720 of me, and then 700,000 was also invested by investors.
And how much more money do you see over the next 2 years that you need to raise?
0. I'm a numbers guy. So I'm not someone that's going to say I'm not a business person, I don't understand. Numbers is my game. We're expecting an EBITDA in our 4th year of 5.6 million.
Yeah, no, look, seriously, as an investor sitting here, it's so lovely to invest in a business that has a chance of paying me back. So thank you for that. That's sarcasm, by the way. You know, the real world is like, people invest in businesses where we believe that there's a real return on investment. But at the moment, your first profit's coming in 4 years' time. That is a long time away.
We're expecting to be profitable now. This year, we're forecasting to do 3.3 million. That's with a 1.4 million gross and an EBITDA of around 2K.
2K?
Yeah, £2,000, yeah. Just marginally positive.
That's not profit, that's a night out.
This is an interesting dialogue because our gentleman pitching, he just dropped the fact that he has a career or had a career in finance. So he's saying, look, I have deep domain knowledge in what it takes to finance companies. Always prove your domain knowledge. He's being challenged by Peter over and over on the business model. Peter's being quite personal. I think it's, I mean, obviously it's a TV show and stuff, but I think it's personal in a not qualified way. But again, it's a TV show, so that's what you do, and that's why people watch this kind of stuff. But our man is staying calm and confident, and he knows his numbers inside out. And he's also dropping a couple of things like EBITDA that people who know a bit about this go like, okay, well, he kind of knows this at least. And even he's able to defend what he's doing. And quite honestly, he's been challenged saying, you're going to make your first revenues in 4 years. And he says, no, we're going to be profitable this year. That's significant. And understand, in my opinion, I think some of the dragons are massively negotiating already. I think they're already impressed on the inside, but not showing it in the outside. They want to have a strong poker face going on here. However, I think our dragon, Stephen, he's already kind of going in a certain direction. Well, let's go. And what I liked a lot was the question, well, when do you need another investment? So the question is, how long is your runway? That means how long will you be able to survive without external funding? How long can you last? And he says, well, we don't need anything on top. That's pretty good.
The pair's prediction of a less than impressive EBITDA, a method of measuring a company's profitability, appears to have riled Peter Jones. But the entrepreneur's comparison of their product with a successful wine app has caught the attention of Stephen Bartlett.
Told you. I
Really
spotted
fascinating
that.
business.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You refer to your business as Vivino for cheese. I'm actually one of the investors in Vivino. Got a couple of questions for you. What is your exit strategy for this business?
Probably most likely a listing.
Really?
Yes.
You're going to have to get huge scale to list your business. You realize that?
I think we can. So at the
I also love that question. What is your exit strategy? Saying, what's your end game? Where do you want to bring this company? And to be honest, a lot of people are going to go, good question, we'll figure it out along the way. Or, pardon me, exit strategy. Or, sell the company at some point in time. It's all great, but he's saying a listing. This is ambitious. And then Stephen says, but you need like big numbers for that. And he goes like, yes, I'm aware of that. Calm, ambitious, confident. I like that. And what I also like a lot is the way the two of our entrepreneurs are collaborating with one another. They know their space, who answers what. And what's really important is when you're doing the Q&A part is understand who answers what type of questions. And it's a bit unpleasant when one founder runs on top of the other one, interrupts, or both don't know what to take. And here's a little pro tip I know from hosting events together with other hosts. So 2 people on stage. And especially if you have to improvise a lot, is you talk and you've told your co-host, look, when I'm during my last sentence, I'm going to make eye contact with you and nod. So as soon as I make eye contact with you and nod is a signal to you saying, hey, this is my last sentence. If you want to add something, feel free to go. Little pro tip. Look out, a lot of professional presenters do that.
At the end of the 4th year, we're going to be 24 million. And that is conservative. And I know it sounds crazy and you're going to laugh at that, but genuinely, I really have no interest in being crazy. So that is based on multiples, based on where the business is now.
You said you're not here to be crazy. So you tell me what the biggest risks to your business are.
Great question.
Gosh, the biggest risk to our business. I honestly can't think.
It's really concerning when an entrepreneur doesn't know what the risks are to the business because then they might surprise them. You've got to understand what those risks are.
I would throw one in, I think, capacity of cheesemakers. So we work with small batch artisan makers.
Do you see those eyebrows again? First of all, great question. And if you don't know the answer, take your time to think. The worst thing is a quick fire answer where you just kind of like with shooting, once the bullet leaves the barrel, it's gone. It's not coming back. Well, actually, once the striker, but I don't want to get too technical there. But the thing is, once the bullet leaves the barrel, it's gone, but you're responsible whom or what it hits. Same thing as with talking. Once you've said it, it's out. So make sure that you take your time, think, aim, shoot. Or in this case, he says he's not sure. And then Stephen says, look, that's bad. And again, ask yourself, what is the biggest risk your company has? And if you say, well, there is no risk, I bet you there is. Try and answer that. Have an answer. This is an amazing question. It's a great Q&A session here. And then I also like how the COO, I believe Rich is his name, jumps in and says it's actually the capacity of the cheesemakers. And then we see Stephen's eyebrows, I have to lower my eyebrows quickly, eyebrows go up. Because what he's implying is saying, hey, we'll create so much business that actually some of the cheesemakers won't be able to keep up with what we do. So again, they're showing calm ambition. I like.
They've been pushed to the level of supply that we need.
Yeah, so that's a really good point, because there's a big difference between that supply chain supporting a 1.5 million turnover business and that supply chain supporting a 25 million turnover business.
24.
It will not cope with that demand. So what can you do about that? Because that, to me, is the biggest thing stopping me from sitting here right now and saying, I want to make you an offer.
So I think, yes, let's take an example. I mean, the rise in non-dairy milk actually helps us, because the more people that drink oat milk, the less people are drinking cow's milk. That can be made for cheese. And there is so much milk out there, and we need to redirect that milk to cheesemakers, and we work directly with them to make artisan cheese.
She likes the answer.
Cheesemongers have a wholesome vision for the future of the British dairy industry, with their business placed right at the centre of it. Has it been enough to persuade the dragon with a plant-based diet to invest?
If you're ambitious, you think in
I've
ecosystems.
sat here quietly trying to work out whether or not this is something I want to be involved in or could be involved in. Because I think it's really got legs, and you have got something here. But I've got some big issues within the milk industry. And I can't be part of a business that, whilst you might want to drive yourself towards the more ethical end of it, I'm going to struggle, because I will say some things that will upset some of your suppliers. So I don't think I can invest. So I'm really sorry, guys, I'm out.
Disappointment for the entrepreneurs, as Deborah Meaden's concerns about the environmental effects of milk production lead to a rejection of their business. Peter Jones was earlier dismissive of the company's valuation, and he's now ready to give his verdict on the investment proposition.
If we talk about your overall strategy, the biggest risk of this business is your supply chain. Without that supply chain being properly organised and functional, you actually don't really even have a business. But you always fall back on the tech you're deploying. I think it's definitely a tech business. I like the model. I think the business model is really clever. And I can see this in multiple locations around the world once you set up infrastructure and supply chain.
That's interesting. It seems like he's going to make an offer, and that's something you rarely see that you turn around someone during Q&A, because usually people kind of create their opinion, they form their opinion very early on. But we could see that our entrepreneurs were able to, by calmly and confidently, while being grilled, they were able to add so much more to the whole conversation that they actually turned Peter's opinion around. And this brings me to one of my core observations. In more than 10 years and on stage pitching and being an entrepreneur myself, the pitch itself is great. But the pitch itself is just the opener for the Q&A session. And this session has to be prepared just as well, if not better, than the actual pitch itself. And if you're saying, well, what kind of questions could you ask me? Just try and read between the lines. Understand who your audience is. Understand what kind of emotions your pitch, your words, the things you show create. And understand what kind of questions they're going to trigger. And also understand that a lot of the questions, just like in our case now, are not as much product related, but a lot more market related. Let's hear the offer.
So I'm going to make you an offer.
Sweet.
And I'm going to offer you all of the money. I was going to say for 20%, but I've paused because I don't think you'll do it. So I'm going to offer you all of the money, but I want 15% of the business.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
His opinion has turned from saying it's an outrageous blah, 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 to saying, hey, I was going to offer you 20%, but I know you're not going to take it. And what it means is saying, hey, I value you as entrepreneurs and your entrepreneurial vision so much that I understand that you are too smart to give away too much of the cake, but I find this cake so interesting that I'm willing and able to be on board for the other offer. So for 15%. Wow. So that's a very rare occurrence to turn someone that well. And it also says a lot about Peter Jones that he's also able to change his opinion. Well, that's great.
Are you accepting or?
Better.
We might just think for a sec.
It's always good.
An unanticipated offer from the longest-serving dragon, Peter Jones. But for his £85,000, he wants 5 times more equity than the 3% that was on the table. Will the Den's newest recruit, Stephen Bartlett, be prepared to match or even better it?
I really like the business, and there's tons of challenges you'll face, but the most important thing that gives you conviction as an investor that those challenges won't be insurmountable are the entrepreneurs that stand before you. When I chose to join the Den, I was asked a lot about what type of business I was looking for, and my answer was always the same. It was, I'm looking for a business where there's a lever I can pull based on my experience, my skill set, and my contacts to multiply the value of the business. So I feel like you're here for me, and I also feel like I'm here for you.
Nice one.
So I am going to make you an offer, but I'm not going to suck the blood out of you like Peter just did. I'm going to offer you all of the money for 7.5% of your business because I think that's fair.
Okay, thanks very much.
I like the way he kind of set the record saying, I'm here because I want to multiply your business by pulling all the levers, and you're here for me, I'm here for you, and I want to make you a fair offer. So he's saying Peter's offer is unfair, and he's saying my offer is actually fair. And to be honest, so they were asking for £85,000 for 3%. Peter goes in and said, I would have done 20, but I'm giving you 15. Smart way of, anchoring his ask. And Stephen says, no, I'll take 7.5%. So half of what Peter Jones is asking, because it's fair. I like that.
It's a really good offer. And a lovely first offer.
Oh, thank you.
First offer.
You shouldn't take it, but it's great.
Stephen Bartlett puts the cat amongst the pigeons by dramatically undercutting Peter Jones's offer by half, asking for just 7.5% of the company. It's an audacious move, and one that has certainly given Tuka Suleiman something to think about.
That young new dragon, he's just swept me off my feet. Look, you have an amazing offer from a new dragon, which you could consider. But I do like it. I think there's a lot there that I can help you with. So I'm going to make you an offer because I think you deserve an offer from me, whether it's right or wrong. But I'll offer you all of the money for 15%.
I'd say no straight away to that. It just seems very unambitious. He says, look, I'll make you an offer. If it's right or wrong, I don't know. I'll take what he's having. What Peter Jones is having. Maybe he was asked to make an offer. Maybe he's trying to make it interesting. But he's not pitching for their hearts. He's not saying anything to make them consider something. He's not saying, look, this is the leverage I can bring. And this is the thing. Investors are rarely dumb money, just rich people with money. But they're usually entrepreneurs with leverage, with ability, with network, with passion, with know-how, and money. And that's what you want to have. So I don't understand his offer. It's nice. It's the third offer, but I cannot see our entrepreneurs considering this for 1 second.
Thank you, Chico.
Thank you.
It's nice.
You need to play it a little bit cooler if you're going to be in with any chance of negotiating any sort of deal. Just look over at Edward, stern face, poker face. You're just thinking, oh my word, this is just what I need. And do you know what? I think one of those guys is just what you need. But I don't think I am the right investor for you. So it's with a heavy heart I say that I'm out.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Do you want to?
I mean, here's the thing. Like, if investors say no, it's very often that they think you have an amazing business, but it's just not the way they can apply themselves to it, the lever they would bring, what I was just talking about. So that's fair enough. If you're an investor who just invests in SaaS, so software as a service, and someone presents an amazing hardware product, that's just not your angle, so you're not going to do it. But it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means, look, you're offering red wine, I drink white wine, therefore, no thank you. But it's probably great. I like both. Just saying.
Go and have a little think.
Couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Okay,
War.
thanks.
The Cheese Geeks now have 3 competing offers to consider. Peter Jones and Tuka Suleiman are demanding 15% of the company. But Stephen Bartlett has swooped in for a more competitive 7.5%.
Oh, what he's going to bring the business? Good mate, let's say. Shall we see if he goes with you? I think that's what.
Ooh, they're offering, they're renegotiating.
Well, thank you so much for your offers. Really, really appreciate it. And I'm so pleased that you kind of feel enthusiasm for what we're doing. I think Stephen, you would have some really obvious advantages that you can bring. I just wonder whether if you got your money back, you'd be willing to drop down to 5%.
Nice.
I'll tell you what I'll do. If you can return my money within the next 24 months, then I'll drop down to 5%.
Ambitious.
I think then we'd love to accept.
Whoa!
Thanks very much.
Well done.
Well
Amazing.
done, well
Thanks a
done.
lot, Stephen.
Amazing.
Really appreciate it.
Amazing.
Sorry.
Edward and Rich have done it.
What an investment as well to make as my first one.
Great.
Unbelievable.
What a
nice
entrepreneurs.
Well done.
They depart with the £85,000 they were seeking and having made a little bit of den history by becoming Stephen Bartlett's first deal done.
Yes.
It was kind of scary not accepting Peter's offer. I just didn't really make eye contact with him. But I think Stephen could bring so much to the business.
He adds the value in the areas that we need to help him.
Yeah.
Perfectly. Such a great match.
I think that was a cracking deal.
That was really good.
I mean, you'll increase your percentage as you grow in that seat.
Sure, yeah.
But that was well done.
He's bitter though, he's bitter. Yeah.
I love it. And I mean, what a great wrap up and saying, look, this is why we did it. This is what we were thinking. I tried not to make eye contact. That's great as well if you're trying to say no to something. And what an amazing pitch. So much to learn in it. I really like this business. And again, don't forget, you're not just someone asking for something. You're someone bringing a potential mutual business to the table, saying, look, this is what we have to offer. We'd like to work with you. Let's find a deal on this. Not saying, please, 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 I need your money. Quick, 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 please, please, please. And I liked it. However, what I need from you would be a like. That would make me really happy. If you want to make me even more happy, that would be a subscription, because I'm just getting started with this. I am enjoying myself. And thirdly, if you're saying, hey, I'm actually also enjoying this so much that I always want to see the newest videos you drop, Daniel, then you shall press the bell button, whatever that's actually called. The bell button. In that sense, thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Take care, stay safe, and see you next time. Bye-bye, boys and girls.